All right. Hey, everyone. I know the new intro, people aren't used to it yet. And how's everyone doing tonight? Um,
Good.
it's obviously September 11th today. We have True Crime Web Steve here with us. And Adam, of course, is hiding behind his avatar over there. And there he is. There's Steve. Steve, okay. So first of all, sorry
And me.
for yeah, I'm sorry, Deb.
Yeah, let's not forget the
Funny.
Squirrel.
poor Deb.
I know.
Uh-huh.
I was just focused on the fact that all of a
Which
sudden,
one is which one is really the blonde? That's what I want to know.
or it was like it was there, and then all of a sudden my mind
Uh,
set changed, and I was like, so
mhm.
uh, you know what? We're sorry for the change of lineup tonight, but that it is what it is. Okay. Um, so that was their call. So um, the, you know what? I'm glad it has turned out the way it has because today is September 11th, and Steve graciously, uh, I asked him if he could come on tonight with us because I knew it was September 11th, but it was like I was doing other things, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, let me ask Steve because this is in honor of all those who lost their lives and all those, who still carry on. So thank you, Steve, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
It's an honor to be here tonight, especially on this date.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so Deb, I got Mr. Mod Streamlabs set up there. Um, so if you want to do a little bit of roll calls, if you could, that would be
Yeah, I'll
great.
do a little bit. Um, Say hello to Ronnie Millsap. Boy, we have a singer in the group here. Also, hello to Purdue RN, Grace Abounds, Polygraph, Aussie, Callie. I skip down Marge. Hey, everybody. Hey, Marge. Jacqueline Keeley, Rob Lee. Good to see you, Rob. I have a friend named Rob Lee. He's an attorney.
Oh,
Jada. Is it Jetta or Jada? I never know what to say. Hey, pretty lady.
I
Anyway.
say Jetta.
Okay. Hey, Jill Mosier. Good to see you. And who else? Adam. Adam's in here. Mary Flynn. How are you, Mary? And welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Kelly. Thank you so much, Kelly, for the super sticker. We appreciate you. Boston Christian in the house. Who else? It's skipping on me. I hate when it does that. Ben. Hey, Ben. Hello, Streamlabs. Behave yourself tonight. Jessica Saunders, welcome. Sharon, hey girl. Freckle Joy, hi honey. Jumpin' Jack Flash. And I think that's it. I'm caught up.
Yeah, I don't think I'm caught up, but yeah. So if I miss
Hope
scrolling
I
past
didn't miss
anything there,
anyone.
yeah.
Yeah, hope I didn't
Hello,
miss anyone.
Streamlabs, do your thing. Yeah.
Behave.
Um, yeah. Just before we get started, too, you guys, um, I did a membership live yesterday, and there was a lot of people that did become a member. So I just want you to make sure, and I'll drop the link in a second. But if you do want to become a member, it's $1.99 a month to become a member, and that will let you into the private Facebook group. I'll drop that link in a sec. So if you did join yesterday and you do want to join the private Facebook group, I'm just going to drop that link in a second here. And uh, yeah, I don't know why I always seem to have problems finding that. Okay, wait,
I
found
got to
it.
tell you, last night in the members only, I could not all of a sudden go, like it disappeared because I was on my phone, not on my laptop. And I'm like, I can't watch the members only. What's happening here? But I realized
It
that
was new. Oh, I
when I
kind of see.
joined, I was on my laptop and I joined under the Debbie account instead of the Deb account. And so then I had to run and get my
Oh,
laptop.
yeah. Just give me 1 second. I can tell that I'm blurry. 1 second.
Yeah,
One
you are a
second.
little bit blurry. Steve looks good though. He's got a good video going. Adam
Possible.
looks a little just deadpan there.
Okay, you know where I gotta go. I gotta
Uh-oh.
go here. There we go. Um, that's better. Okay. So for anyone that did become a member yesterday, I just dropped Facebook link on there. But now you have to email me at acrimingshame. Let me put up the banner. Okay. acrimingshame@gmail.com. Okay. With your YouTube name and your Facebook name. So if you haven't done that, make sure that you do that if you do want to join the Facebook group. So thank you, all new members. Thank you, Karen, Kelly Aaron, for the $5 super chat. We understand, again, your reasoning for yours and Jory's wanting to change the live from tonight. So that's perfectly good because we have True Crime Web Steve here. And again, in honor of September 11th of 2001, I'm going to play a sweet little video here, and then we're going to get back into it. Okay, guys? So let me do that. And it's just about a little over a minute long, I think. Okay. So I will do that, and we'll see you guys in just a moment. In honor of the World Trade Center devastation that happened in 2001, It's a Criming Shame would like to say, we are sorry for the families. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives that day. We'd like to appreciate the fallen that worked so hard to save other people's lives as well, and those that carried on. Thank you for your service, time, and dedication. Thank you, Steve from True Crime Web, for joining us today. And please, everyone, say a prayer for all those families that lost their lives that day or lost their loved ones. Okay, so again, just a short, sweet video there in honor of September 11th, 2001. Steve, we'll start with you. Well, I wanted to say first, at first I was watching the video back of 2001 and I was going to incorporate it in that tribute. But honestly, I just couldn't. It was too upsetting. I'm going to start with you, Steve.
Yes.
What do you remember from that day?
At that time, I was working night shifts, and I was woke up when they put our SWAT team on alert. We have a lot, throughout the state of Georgia. There's some high value targets scattered around the state, and so all the teams across the state and the country, everyone that had any type of high value targets, they put them on alert. And so for the next, 72 hours, no one knew what was going to happen and, what the threats were to the infrastructure across the country. And so, so it was some pretty tense times there during those first few days. And then as we watched when the tires fell, and we realized that there's a lot of good, hardworking Americans died that's just going to work, doing what Americans are supposed to do. And then you realize all the first responders that died also. But there was heroes on both sides of the badges, regardless of what they were. There's a lot of those Americans that was just working, trying to save lives, and they did. A lot of them came together, and that's one great thing that you can see in people, that they'll help each other in great stress and times of need, and they did. Even with Flight 93, same thing. Those people fought to the bitter end. And how many lives did they save? and took matters in their own hands. But as Americans, we've always stepped up to the plate. And but I remember a lot about that. And then even today, you have to appreciate all the young men, like my son-in-law. He did 3 tours and was injured, and you have to give those lives lost even after that went to take care of those that sealed their fate when they attacked us. And but we just have to appreciate everybody and thank all those families and all the first responders, everyone that worked at Ground Zero. It's just absolutely heartbreaking that our country faced such a day.
Absolutely. Like felt it too. You didn't know what was going on, but Deb, go ahead with yourself. What do you remember for yourself that day?
I remember how strange it was. My parents were visiting from Florida, and we had talked my dad into taking us to a store called Tuesday Morning to shop. My mom and I had, because both my kids were in school, and we were in there, and all of a sudden people just started, talking, and I'm like, what's going on? And they said, well, we think there's been a bombing. We're not sure, because at that point they weren't sure what was going on. So we rushed home and we started watching the replays on the TV. And the first plane hitting the first tower, like the first one that hit, we were like, oh my gosh, I wonder if this was a pilot who was suicidal, or what could this be? It was just such a foreign thought to us. And then when we saw the next, and then everything happened, we're like, this is no accident. We're under attack. And then there were rumors of, buildings that were going to be hit or been hit in Chicago, and all over they were popping up. And it was really frightening. You didn't know whether to go get your kids out of school or, what was going to happen next. And I just remember being in a state of like unbelief. Like I could not believe this is happening.
Absolutely. What about you, Adam?
Hey, everyone. Why don't you go first, honey? I just came on, so why don't you go first?
Yeah, no problem. I was in bed, and I remember it was like really early in the morning, and the TV, I fall asleep with the TV on all the time. And I remember waking up to the noise from the TV and seeing this, showing that this plane had hit the thing. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm just like, and then I was instantly like, wait, like how? Like this isn't an accident. Like, what do you mean? It didn't make sense how this plane. And then, and it was live, I remember, because I'm sitting there trying to understand what was going on and thinking, like, this is not an accident, or this is not an accident. And then all of a sudden, boom, the second plane comes in. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what's going on? Like, It was just, and then you're watching it and you're just like, definitely it's not an accident at this point. And I just remember going like, I like, what's going on? I like, then you started hearing about the, like, I think it was it Flight 93 or something like that. And then you heard about the White House or Penthouse one,
Pentagon,
I think was it Philadelphia one or something? There was like 4, wasn't there? I'm trying to remember now.
There was the Pentagon.
Pentagon. Yeah, and then I just remember thinking to myself, like, well, what's going to happen in Canada? Like, what's going on here? Because you felt the impact. You didn't know if this was like a World War thing, or, if other planes were going to go down. And it was definitely a day I'll never forget, because it was the most absurd thing I had seen. And you just didn't know if there was more to come. And it was and then you listen, then you're like, it was just, everything was pandemonium, and you're just watching it, and it's like, it's not real, but you're watching it and it is real. And yeah, it was just, I'll just always remember just waking up to that TV and, seeing this big explosion. And I can't believe that it's 2022, right now.
Right.
And that happened in 2001.
21 years ago.
Right.
You know,
Kids that were born that day, can legally drink today.
Over
It was,
3,000 people died
yeah,
in that, including the Pentagon and all of the buildings that were hit.
yeah. It was. I'm so glad that they turned it into a memorial,
Memorial.
and that they did what they did. Okay, Adam. What about you? What do you remember?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was it was the first week that I started doing hair, and I worked at a salon in the mall at the time. It was called Regis, which is like a part of
I remember
Master
Regis.
Cuts, which is like their fancy brand. But I worked in and so I was in St. Louis at the time, and so it was a Central Time, so it was like 7:45 in the morning, and I turned on the Today Show with Matt Lauer and Katie Couric, which I watched every morning at that time to get ready for work. And they had reports came on that like a small aircraft had hit like one of the World Trade Centers. And at the time they were like, oh, they thought it was a commuter plane, or they thought it was just an accident or something. And so I got in the shower to get ready for work, not thinking anything about it. And I remember getting out of the shower and I was in a towel and I was sitting, and I walked into my bedroom, and the second plane hit while it was on TV, and I just remember sitting down on my bed and like wrapped in a towel, and then just watching, what transpired for the next couple of hours, and then I finally went to work, and they closed the mall at one point during the day. I guess finally around 1 p.m. But I remember there was no one there, and so we all walked down to Sears. And we all watched the footage on like the wall of televisions, which was just so surreal. And it's something I'll never forget, is watching that footage on a wall of TVs.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I
then
can imagine.
And then I'm sure you all remember as well how they closed the airspace that day. And
Mm-hmm.
there was an Air Force base not far from outside of St. Louis called Scott Air Force Base. And I went to a dinner party that night. A friend of mine's parents were in Mensa, which is like that smart people's organization. Yeah. And so it was an interesting thing to do on 9/11, to go to a dinner party. And we were all sitting outside in the garden, and a plane flew over. And it was like the weirdest thing, because there had been no planes all day. And so hearing a plane in the sky was terrifying. And we were all just kind of like, so that was just one of the little weird memories that sticks out from that day.
Yeah.
We had one of the other things that you said that just tripped a memory. We had a soccer tournament just like a few days after that. And it may have been like even a weekend after. No, it was a few days. And there was a plane at one point. We hadn't seen planes flying over because everything's been shut down. But all of a sudden there was a plane flying over. And I remember that was like the most freak out moment for people. Everyone was like fixated on the sky, looking like, is this like something going on, or are they just opening up the air traffic again? Or that was really weird.
And remember, there was all that, there was so much confusion. Everyone was like, where, because they kept moving the president around. President Bush was in office at the time. And so there was so much, worry about what was happening with that, and then where he was. And I don't know. It's weird to think now, like, there are adults that weren't even alive yet then.
Yeah.
Like, and it's taught in school now as history, not, something that they lived through.
Yeah. Steve, there's a question for you. Steve, have you ever met an NYPD officers?
Yes. After 9/11, it still continues this day in a lot of parts of the country, where they have first responders appreciation days, where communities come together, and there's a group of these individuals that travel the country and speak. And so during that time period, after, and they bring awareness to what's going on to the survivors that work Ground Zero. And they also speak about their friends and families that they lost that day. So I've met several of them, and some of them sadly have passed since that date due to being at Ground Zero. But and like I said, go ahead.
Was there asbestos?
Oh, the things that were in that air
as well, or okay, so it was just all of it. Is that?
You're dealing with concrete dust. You're dealing with all the chemicals that would be in all the parts of that building, the paints, the fumes from where the gas chemicals are, fuel. There's so many things that were in that building, and not only for that building, but we're also where they transferred all that material and where they continue to try to retrieve as much of the victims as they could, where they processed them away from the site. And a lot of those people, once again, have suffered from those working and trying to bring as many victims home to their families as they could.
Yeah. What do you do anything each time that the year passes, like in general? Is there anything that you do specifically?
Um, Pretty much during those morning hours, I don't do anything but reflect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that
We had
you know that at this at this point, I believe if it hasn't already outnumbered it, the number of people that have died from the effects of being at Ground Zero that day have matched or outnumbered the amount of people that died during the attacks.
Oh, I believe it. I
I
believe
looked
it.
up an article today. I think there's 25,000 cases of cancer related illnesses from that. And I think
Wow.
1.5 thousand of those. Now, I didn't look at when it was published, but almost 2,000 of those people have passed.
Yeah.
Wow.
The last
You know, we
statistic
had-
I saw in 2018. I'm sorry, Deb.
We had the second game of our soccer tournament today at the university, and we did a moment of silence before we did the national anthem. It was very touching.
Yeah.
I hope that a lot
Yeah.
of people stopped and just said a prayer for all the families.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
I
one
know.
thing for us to talk about, being, but for the people that were in New York that day and for the people that were there and experienced it, people like CD, our friend, analysis of a crime, it's a whole different thing for them. And, so, I mean, those are the people we should really think about the most. And I mean, of course it changed the whole nation, but I mean, I don't think anyone that was in New York that day or lost someone. And I have friends that lost parents. I know people that died that day, and it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
Alexa said she was there, and she had lost two friends too.
Yeah, I'm not even within. I walk in the shadow of those men and women and first responders that went into those buildings that day. I mean, you're talking about people that they knew the risk and they went. Of course, they didn't know that the building was going to fall, but still going that high up when you don't have water to fight fire, and it's just absolutely amazing. But I've always been in awe of firemen. Anybody that would run into burning a building is just amazing. Give me a man with a gun or a knife any day. Just
Right.
But fire is something that you just, once you're surrounded by it, you're surrounded by it, and I've always admired them.
Mm-hmm. It takes a great love for your fellow man to do that, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And
Adam, did you want me to show your pictures that you put into our group chat?
I mean, you can. I mean, like I said, it was just, I used to go to, I used to go to New York every year for Fashion Week, which usually coincides with 9/11. And so over the years, my best friend lives in New York. And so over the years, it was just interesting to watch the progress of the, my oldest pictures I don't have because they're, on like SD cards on my cameras that I haven't uploaded. But these were the last ones I had from like the last 10 years as they were building the Freedom Tower that I took over the years when I was there. And I sent them to Sunny earlier today, just, and then, like the ones there is from like the first year after it was fully completed, which it was so surreal to see like the skyline with that new building there. And
Yeah.
but I mean, I have pictures from when the fencing was up and from when like the rubble was still there, and it's not something you can really even put into words. I know for anyone that's been in New York or was in New York at that time, for years when you would walk anywhere near that area, for New York, as loud as it is, and for as noisy and boisterous as it was silent. Like you would get within blocks of that site, and people just stopped making sound. It was weird how quiet it was down there, and it's different now. I mean, it's so far removed that it's just, I don't know, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that it? I think I already went through those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he started with.
I remember the first time I saw the beams. I don't know if everyone does. Steve, I think they still do it, where they put the lights up every year in the
I
places
saw it
where
earlier tonight. Yes.
did they? Yeah, and I remember the first time my best friend lives in Brooklyn now, and so to see the skyline from Brooklyn is beautiful anyway. But the several times that I've seen it with those beams of light coming up, it's so weird and beautiful, but weird.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
When you date the movies, when you look at the movies that were created with that skyline when the Twin Towers were there, it always makes your
Mhm.
heart skip a beat there for a second.
Isn't it weird? I hate how something they've like digitally removed them from some movies and things, and I think that's wrong. You know, I'm like, I think
Yeah,
you should leave those things in. As sad as they are, they're a part of the past.
right.
And then were movies filmed in the, like the movie I don't know if the movie Working Girl with Sigourney Weaver,
Mhm.
and that was filmed almost entirely inside one of the towers.
Oh yeah, I forgot Sigourney Weaver was the boss in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and Melanie Griffith.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun movie. Very sad.
Sunny, do you want to put that other picture from that quote? That quote has always stuck with me.
Okay, give me a second.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to read. CD said, NYPD is where I started my career. So many of us transferred to different departments, but we all come together yearly for a 9/11 tribute. Thank
Yeah.
you, CD.
Thanks, CD. Yeah. I asked him if he wanted to come on tonight as well.
Mhm.
But he didn't answer me back. But I see you in chat, CD.
He told me that he told me, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But
It's not yeah.
something else I always think about is the kids, like all the people that were pregnant, that lost that lost their father that day, and they never
You're
met
right.
them. There's a whole group
Yeah.
of children that, are now adults that, were the kids of 9/11.
That is so very sad.
So, I mean, imagine how weird that is for them today, to know what happened to their day, and then they never even met them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Adam, which is the quote? The one
It's just that quote.
about it says, "Hey, Jules." Oh, that
Jules,
one.
yeah.
Okay. I was looking at that point. Oh.
And it was originally voicemail.
Okay. Yeah. That's what was so hard too earlier was like as I was watching the video, and the parts that are in there is basically people calling their loved ones to say,
Mhm.
I love you, baby. It's I remember watching as the years went on and people were starting to talk a little bit about it more, and I just always remember this one lady and she's just like, that was my best friend and he's gone. I can't talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
You may read that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you think about the people on, Flight 93 and the bravery of all of them that they, in those final moments, they came together because they realized that that plane was on a flight pattern to destroy another building full of people. And for them to come together, and that was the one I think that was in Pennsylvania, was it?
In Pittsfield.
Yeah. And for them to come together and, you know, form a plan and the stewardess helping out with the pot of hot water and just trying, and they almost had it they were so very close, but it's just in that moment. Yeah, I remember that they it was like, let's roll. That was their little motto that they
Yeah, and they knew what their fate would be by doing that,
Yeah,
but they
they
did
did.
it anyway.
They did anyway. I took my daughter to see she was a teenager, and I took her to see that movie, Flight 93. We both came out of it and we just cried so hard.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Did you see
And
that one too, Sonny?
Yeah.
you know,
I
and like you said earlier,
forgot until you said it.
like you said earlier, like the men that knowing what they were probably going into, and women that ran up those stairs instead of down.
Right.
But that picture like that you had up, Sonny, I'll read it. Did you want me to read it or not?
Oh, sorry. I thought you had already read it. I was too busy answering back. So yeah. Just before you do that, I just want to say, yeah, CD, love you, buddy. Again, thank you so much for everything that you do and everything that you've done, I should say. And appreciate you very much, buddy. Yeah, no, I had offered for CD to come on and I sent you that back. But, he always is too busy to, like, usually he's looking after the kids and he has to squeeze in his time when he can and stuff like that. But yeah, exactly. And I bet absolutely. But anyways, love you very much, buddy. And yeah, hard day. Let me just hit share again. Okay, there we go.
So this was a voicemail, which, like you said, there were several that day, but this one's always stuck out to me because, it just says, "Hey, Jules, this is Brian. I'll listen. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well and they're not looking good, I want you to know that I absolutely love you. I want you to do good, have good times, and same with my parents. I'll see you when you get here. I want you to know that I totally love you. Bye, babe. Hope I will call you." And that was from Brian Sweeney, who was on Flight 175, which would have been the second plane that hit the Trade Center, which I believe was 18 or 20 minutes after the first one, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But that quote of all just always stuck out to me.
Well, I was gonna say in the video I was watching today, Adam, that was what one of the ones I was listening to. Was that one right there?
It's weird because how in the casualness of it and like the and just knowing that finality of it. So I don't know, it's heavy.
I was gonna say when I was listening to it, and it was like this. It was like, "Hey, Jules, this is Brian. Listen, I'm on a plane that's has been hijacked," and I was like, "Are you kidding?" Honestly, the control of that, I thought, because I would be like screaming, like, "Honey," and so there was a couple voice things that they had played during that video I was watching, and honestly, it's so heartbreaking. But like even the one lady too, she's just like, like, "Love you," saying to her husband, like, "Love you, baby. If I don't make it, tell the kids I love them." And did it, and I'm just like, I would be losing my shit a lot more than that for sure. So I'm just amazed how, in a sense, what they were going through, and I don't know how to put that because what they were going through, I just know that I would have been like, oh my God, like the composure that they were doing, considering what was going on. I guess, I don't know. I guess maybe perhaps too, when they're doing it, they don't really know what's going on, so they're panicked, but they probably don't realize that their life's going to end as well.
Oh, no. I've seen a lot of men placed in that position and women when we have to go into certain encounters, and they make those conscious decisions. That man there made a conscious decision that he had lived a great life, and he wanted others to know about that life. And there's a lot of good people out there that he realized the threat, and if he could have acted, I'm sure he would have. And it's just so touching to see these people and see these. This is something that the rest of the family will always have to be so proud of.
Yeah.
Of how their loved one faced, and I've seen a lot of people in their last moments. Very few of them ever faced the reality with this much grace as this individual did.
Yeah. Right. you know, and everyone, it depends on somebody's personality too. Like my husband is so very calm in situations like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, he did his father's eulogy, and I'm like, I could never do it. I would be crying so hard I couldn't even speak. But he was totally calm and amazing. And when you know it's your last minutes there, like this man, you want to make sure you get the words out, I think.
Yeah, exactly, Deb. Right. Um, uh, it, just heartbreaking. It's just
Yeah.
so heartbreaking. It is just a day, of course, that you know, every time it comes by too. Like today, I feel heavy, um, because it is such a sad day.
I know, but I feel proud to live in a country where we got this type of
Ah,
fellow Americans
yeah,
that will always step up to plate and place others before themselves. And
yeah,
it's, it's, and
Yes.
even our younger generations that went overseas, same thing. They didn't like what happened, and they went and made people pay for what they did to us that day.
yeah, and and yeah, and CJK says, and the brave people of those planes. That's what I was saying. And the DNY and law enforcement in all locations have the utmost
Hmm.
respect, love, sympathy. Even the air traffic controllers and the Nova Scotia and to Nova Scotia for their kindness. You know, do you remember? Because the plane where the guy made the phone call telling his wife that it had been hijacked and they were going to try to
Hmm.
take over the
Todd,
plane.
Todd
Yeah,
Beamer. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, obviously it didn't end well, but um, you know what,
Well, you
Steve?
know what though? They kept
They,
that plane. They're here, big heroes. They kept that plane from hitting its target, and
Yeah,
whether it went down or not, the loss of life, of course, is horrendous. But think
yeah.
about what the loss of life could have been. So
Remind me,
they did accomplish it.
what was the
Go ahead.
target for that one? Remind me.
I think they thought it was somewhere in Washington D.C., the capital,
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
anyway, it was going to be a populated area, of course.
yeah,
Which
Yeah,
could
Right.
have crashed
the
anywhere
White House or
between.
the Capitol building.
Yeah.
And amazing that they took that when the plane went down. It went down in a big field, so there were no homes or anyone else that was a
yeah.
target on that.
Well, that sure changed the course of history for flying
Yeah.
after that. I remember I could sit in the cockpit. I remember one time I was on an airplane and I don't like airplanes too well. And I was like 26 or something like that, 25. And the lady could tell I was nervous. And she's like, do you want me to ask the captain if you want, you can sit up front with them? And I was like, really? And then she's like, yep. So she come back and got me. And I was just sitting there on the little bench thing in the cockpit with the co-pilot as well, the pilot and the co-pilot, and the moon. It was at nighttime, and it was the most beautiful thing to see it from that
Mm.
perspective. And of course, once 2001 happened, that was never to be happened again. Obviously, everything changed. Everything changed in the flying world after that, for sure. You know,
Mm.
because what was it?
Absolutely.
Wasn't the doors? Remember something about they changed how the doors were made
Hmm.
because if it was locked or whatever, like there was no way to get it back in or whatever it was.
Yeah, it has to
Whatever.
be locked. It's locked now, and the captain doesn't come out. Used to, the captain might come out and walk through the cabin, during the flight, let his assistant fly the plane and just say hi to people. But now they're locked in there, and that's that. And the security of going through the airport has tightened up so much. Now you have the um,
Yeah.
what are they called that you have to walk through? That
Metal
look at
detectors.
you.
Oh,
They're more
scanners.
than metal detector.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
some
say
of the
Like,
scanners, full
scanners.
body
thank you.
scanners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Steve. And to the scanners, and then the body searches sometimes, and you have to take your shoes off and make sure you don't wear metal or lots of jewelry. There's lots of things you have to do now, and it's
Oh,
fine. I don't mind being inconvenienced even one little bit if it means that it helps us to be safe.
Right.
uh,
Is this
absolutely.
completely lighter? of course, but isn't it? It's always weird to me when you fly now, and then I'm like, it's been 21 years, and there's still the occasional person that's like, "What? Huh? I take my shoes off?" And I'm like,
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
"Have you
You
not
know,
flown in 21 years?"
all right. You know, I just like, I remember hearing that the men that took over the planes, I don't even know what to call them. I don't even want to call them a man, a person. They weren't human in my book. More
Terrorists.
like
Monsters,
thank
terrorists.
you, demon, right? Um, that they took flight lessons, and I don't understand why, when they took these lessons, that it didn't like really set off an alarm with the instructor, because they didn't care anything about learning how to land. It was all about the takeoff and the flight part. So to me, that would send up a red flag. I'm sure it would definitely send up a red flag today after what's happened. But that was an odd.
Yeah. 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 Um,
We never thought it could happen.
no.
That's
Steve,
right. Right.
We,
Yeah.
you know, we had an arrogance about ourselves that thought that we didn't think that, you know, something like that could ever actually happen to us.
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely right. Um, it's just a day the whole world will remember for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
And we
And
should have, because I mean, they tried it in 95. You know, there
yeah,
were attempts before that. So I mean, the fact that, you know, that we were so blissfully unaware,
Mhm.
you know, it was
we were in
unacceptable, but
quarterback.
not something that we'll ever, you know, I think not something that, hopefully not something that would ever happen again.
Yeah, I hope not. Now I think we have to worry more about cybersecurity and cyber attacks. Wouldn't you think, Steve?
I have a lot of fears about a lot of things. uh, uh, the Middle East, you know, they'll always be our one of our greatest um, enemies for the fact that what they will do against our most innocent. That
Mm-hmm.
you know, that it's just not a military war to them. That they'll come into our cities and do things with the nuclear threats that they can do,
Oh,
and
true.
Yeah.
what they can do to the water supplies and things. There's so many threats out there
Oh, it's true.
that can keep you up for hours. and
Mm-hmm.
but we were, like I said, back when during that time, you know, they briefed us on so much information and what could possibly be on the way during those first days, and we, you know, so we had a lot of long nights.
Do you remember any of the things specifically that they? I know it's been a long time ago that, you know, they brought up to you that you were like, whoa.
Yes, can't talk about them because it's still a threat,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
those targets are still existing, and
Okay.
you have to be very, very careful on some of that.
Yeah,
Some,
because for the Middle East, for those terrorists, it's a spiritual war.
Oh yes,
You know.
right. And it should be mentioned that, you know, that is a small group of people and not representative of all people from the Middle East.
Right.
Because just like in any community or anything, there are bad people, but the majority of them are not those people.
Right.
And that was something that after those days, in the weeks and months afterwards, watching people, you know, from Middle Eastern descent getting pulled out of, you know, a gas station or things and beat up on the street was disgusting and unacceptable. And as Americans, we should be better than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion, though.
Carol said that a few of the terrorists took flying lessons at a small airport in Moorabbin, Melbourne, Australia, so far away from what they did that no one would have thought of it. I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that, Carol. Streamlabs just gave us a quote: carry out a random act of kindness with no expectations. Reward safe. Expectations of reward. Oh, it's moving up. Safe in the knowledge that one day someone might do the same for you. It's a criming shame.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
that was,
Streamlab.
And you know, like what CD is saying there, that's kind of what I was pointing out is that, you know, I mean, can you imagine if you were a Muslim American living in the United States in 2000? I mean, even today, but I mean, in the few years after that, I mean, I'll be honest, I would get on a plane, and if I saw someone wearing a head wrap or anything like that, I had I had this little bit of tinge of like, what if, which is racist and horrible, you know, because you don't know that person, but just because of their identity, there was a natural assumption with so many people for so long, and that it breaks my heart for the amount of like good Muslim Americans that lived in this country.
Oh yeah.
That suffered unnecessary discrimination.
Absolutely. We have a young man on our soccer team, and he's Muslim, and he's from Africa, and he is the most gentle, sweet, hardworking on that field. Never stops. Calls me Mama Rollison. He's a sweetheart. So you just have to, everyone, you know, you just have to take it in perspective. People are people. They're good people and bad people, no matter where you are.
In every group. The same we do with even law enforcement, you know, like when, you know, over the last couple of years, where people have demonized police, you know, and you're going to have a small group of people in every group that are, you know, shitholes. But the majority of them are good.
People threw their career away. Absolutely threw their career away for just silly, stupid decisions. Never understood that mentality.
But it's not representative of all the police officers, just like, you know, it's not
no. It's a small group, but everybody grabs that one straw and makes it into a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is exactly right.
Sonny, you're quiet.
Sonny, what are you reading?
I'm not reading. I'm just typing. I was on there. Yeah, no. Honestly, I just feel sad.
But they put an end to hijackings, and you know, if everybody's tried to break into a cabin since has been pretty well put. You know, everybody within that's sitting in certain seats have been able to always control them so far, and I hope that continues because no one, you know, it put the whole realization that the plane gets taken over, that your survival rate is, you know, you just can't let them in there to the pilots.
Yeah, it's so weird to think that before that, how easy, that they didn't even lock the door sometimes. I mean, it's funny to, like how different the world is. Even watching every Christmas, a lot of times we'll watch Love Actually. And, it was filmed in like 2000 or something like that. And, even just the idea of watching people go to the arrival and departure gate at an airport to greet people. You remember how you used to go to the airport and you could go right to the gate and like welcome the people that were coming off the planes.
Yes.
And it's so like surreal now, the idea of like even possibly being able to go past that first like level of security.
Right. Now we just pull up to the curb and they jump in. And for a while, you couldn't even do that. For a while, I don't know about other places, but in Indianapolis at the airport here, you couldn't even pull up to the curb.
Right.
And then they started slowly easing off. But if you were there for very long, they'd come and run you off. You'd have to circle back around.
Well, you look dangerous though, Deb. So I would do the same.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. That's probably true.
Right.
So, Steve, is there anything else that you can I don't know, anything else about your thoughts about September 11th?
Well, every time we face this stuff, we realize, that it's eye-opening and we have our country suffered a great loss, and but certain things have happened since then. We're are we a better country? Are we a safer country? Where are we heading? There's still so much global unrest, and you see what's happening in the Ukraine, and and you just pray that we're not going into something that hasn't been seen in almost 80 years. And it's times of uncertainty like this that we have to reflect and embrace our families and do everything we can to just try to raise our kids in the best environment we can, because it is, these children that are coming up that's just went through a pandemic, the pressures, and then facing what, the parents, I'm a grandparent. I don't fear much of anything. Only fears I have is what my children and my grandchildren face.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that. Yeah, I remember one of the this popped in my head. One of the little trivial facts that I wondered if it must have belonged to one of the terrorists, but that they found in the remaining parts of 9/11 or Flight 93. Gosh, I can't talk. That in one of the cigarette lighters there, and they had cigarette lighters back then. Is that what they're saying? They found a knife. Oh, a knife in a cigarette lighter.
Oh, and I finished
the
cigarette
guy,
later.
yeah. So someone had carried a cigarette lighter on with them, but there was a knife inside of it.
Well, just the fact that you could bring a box cutter on a plane is unimaginable to me.
Remember
I
that?
mean, I have to check if I travel with my cutting shears, my because they're such a sharp blade, or my straight razor. I still have to check it, and I still can't bring that on a in the cabin of an airplane. But
yeah,
I remember one time, and it was probably months after that, that I was flying, and I had forgot that my dad had given me a little pocket knife, and I had it at the bottom of my little makeup bag in my purse that I carry every day, and totally had forgotten about it. And it showed up. Of course, then they said, you can go, here's an envelope, you can go mail this to yourself.
They stopped doing that eventually.
I'm like, okay.
Then everything just went into a warehouse and they sold it.
Yeah, just don't take me off anywhere. I'll go mail it to myself.
Got quiet. I was looking at Streamlabs over there on there. He's our security bot. You're gonna need one of those, Steve.
I don't know. I'm not in y'all's league yet. It's gonna take a while.
You're getting there, though. You are. You're getting there.
Oh, I thought he was saying he was above it.
He is. I'm like,
oh no.
As a person, obviously. We're just crazy people over here, but
I'm still minor.
Moving up. You were moving up. Did I just hear right the other night when I was watching it? You went over 2,000.
I did.
You hit. You did. Congratulations.
I went over 2,100 today.
Good for you.
Awesome. Yeah,
I was literally just going to ask too. I'm going to see if this works.
Yeah, that's a big jump. I love it. So go.
You're welcome for all of the. You're welcome. I set up 100 fake profiles and subscribe to you, Steve. So you're welcome.
If you have not subscribed to Steve's channel, it's True Crime Web. Please go do so. He is doing great things, and you'll learn all about his Cyclops program, which is really fascinating. So go subscribe to his channel right now, and come right back.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't stay gone.
I want Adam to turn on his 100 robots to watch all my all the ads.
Well, I'll make sure they all come in the chat. So, but I gotta say, a couple of them are trolls.
Yeah.
Charlie Girl said
on the trolls,
and they really are. They're bigger fans of Mrs. Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. Steve and her group of vigilante posse members have taken care of all the trolls.
Charlie Girl says, I worked at the airport at the time, and the people who cleaned the planes were finding knives taped under the flight attendant seats. Well, can you blame them? Flight attendants, I mean, they were definitely risking their lives at that time. And
they did a great job. They called in, did their protocols, notified who they could by making those, not realizing what was to come, but you got to hear how professional and they were and how they handled and
Mm-hmm.
did their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we got here?
Elias says the streets near Ground Zero were full of white dust a week later and was eerily quiet for NYC. I went to the coroner's office, 35th floor, looking down at it, and was still smoking. It was still smoking. I have to admit, I took pictures. Of course, that was something you probably want to make sure your children know about, and
Yeah.
very sad time.
Yep. What time is it? 6:30. We're at the hour point, kind of. Okay. Steve, is there any final thoughts? And then we'll switch over to Delphi over here.
No, we just have to honor people like CD
Yeah.
and
Yes.
all the other officers out there and their families and first responders and everyone that lost loved ones. Because, like I said, there was a lot of great Americans lost their lives that were just going
Yes.
about their daily lives and didn't deserve what happened to them. And just never forget what this country went through at that time. And I always honor them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play that
Like,
video.
you know, I do think I'm sorry, Sonny, really quick. I will say, because it's weird to one, I don't think I should be old enough to even feel this way, but it's weird to think that, like you said, we're at a point now where it is up to people that were alive then to continue to make a point to make sure that it's not forgotten. Because I know, like, and I'm not comparing the two, but like when I hear my grandparents, when they would talk about Pearl Harbor and things like that, I guess, or World War II, I knew that. I was like, it sounded serious, but I didn't understand the severity of it because I didn't live it. And anyone that wasn't alive that day can't fully understand it. So it has to be up to people that were there and that were alive at that point to never let it fade completely from people's memories.
Right.
Because everyone that suffered that day, that died, and that still suffer today from that day, deserve it from us.
Yeah.
Miss D, thank you for becoming a new member. Also, I want to do 2 shout outs from yesterday for Miss Dog Lover and for Donna. Thank you guys so much during the live membership one. Thank you guys so much for helping support the channel. And Misty, again, please email me at acrimingshame at the email that's scrolling across the bottom with your YouTube name and your Facebook name, and then answer the 3 questions for the It's a Crime and Shame Facebook group. But thank you very much for becoming a member.
And also Charlotte Dean became a member a little earlier on, so she needs to do the same thing. Yeah.
Was there another one? I didn't see.
Yeah. Charlotte Dean.
Okay.
Welcome to she's part of the Paw Patrol.
Okay. And was that before the live started?
No, it was just, like right after it. So if you scroll way back, you'll see it.
I see Kelly Aaron's. Yeah, it's not showing up anymore on there. But thank you very much for what's this one? Is that it? Oh, right here. Yes, there we go. Thank you very much, Charlotte Dean. And same thing as well. Email me with your Facebook and YouTube name, and then you can request to join It's a Crime and Shame Facebook group. And I'm just going to let's see here. I'm going to post that link one more time. And
Cindy, I'll be right back. Okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Okay, I'm just going to play that video one more time before we get into Delphi. And again, blessed to all those lives lost and the people, the families and everybody that lost loved ones and that worked hard. And in September 11th of 2001. Yeah. And again, Steve, CD, and all the, I had it up here earlier. Here, let me just do it again. Yeah. Just such a, there we go. There we go. All right. Um, so I'm just going to, like I said, play that video one more time. So we'll see you in a moment. In honor of the World Trade Center devastation that happened in 2001, It's a Crying Shame would like to say, we are sorry for the families. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives that day. We'd like to appreciate the fallen that worked so hard to save other people's lives as well, and those that carried on. Thank you for your service, time, and dedication. Thank you, Steve from True Crime Web, for joining us today. And please, everyone, say a prayer for all those families that lost their lives that day or lost their loved ones. Oh, somebody's dinging. Somebody dinging. Who's dinging? Debbie, is that you?
I don't
Definitely
know.
has to be you.
Me?
Yeah, you're dinging? Is it you dinging, or is it Steve over there with his 15 phone?
I don't know. I left the room for a minute, so I don't know. I didn't
Mine
hear a
went off.
ding, but
Yeah.
I didn't hear a ding, but it could have been.
Yeah. Well, Pork Chop just messaged me as well, and I was just like, well, she was like, "What's up?" But I'm like, in a live. But I always have to mute those notifications because it drives me crazy when I hear bing, bing, bing,
Yeah,
bing.
I don't see a message, so it wasn't me.
I mean, it must be Adam. You know, the silent, quiet one over there. Right. So, we're going to be talking about Delphi now, as we said, half of the show basically, or most of it was dedicated to the World Trade Center devastation of 2001. Um, so, yeah, so now we're going to move on to Delphi, and of course, remembering Abby and Libby and all those of the missing and murdered that have lost their lives and their cases haven't been solved, and whether they lost their lives and it has been solved or not, either way, prayers to all the families out there that have gone through devastation this way. Uh, you're welcome very much, Jetta. So, Steve, have you been working on Delphi a little bit still?
Oh, yes, it's I'm spread across the board, but most certainly what lives I do. But I've got a lot of stuff going on in the background on other cases that I'm following up on currently and about to go and travel coming in October. But
Right.
until that time, of course, creating some content and about some of the movement that's happening with the case and the information that's coming out and the, what Murder Sheets has brought to the attention of and to the clients and, what does that mean and where is it going? It's exciting times. And for me, looking at it from my law enforcement perspective, I'm hoping that it means what I hope it means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was actually going to ask you, because I seen before the live started. I think Ronnie Millsap said, "Well, I called down there today, and they said it was a training exercise." And I'm thinking, though, what are they going to tell you that they're searching for?
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you that. So my question to
Right.
you is
That's their
that,
story, and they're sticking to it.
well, I mean, first of all, Steve, right? They're not going to sit there when you call up. They're not, like, regardless of what's going on, they're not going to sit there and tell you if they were searching.
Oddly
Like,
enough, I had a Ronnie Millsap put in my comments today that his nephew works for ISP.
mm,
And so his information is that it was a training exercise, and I told him that most certainly I have your nephew get the information from the training schedule, because in law enforcement, if you're going to have a training exercise, you have a lesson plan that is orchestrated. You have where you put out the information that within certain dates, what the criteria, who's going to be, so that people can register for the courses. And they'll put the prerequisites in there. They'll talk about the course. They'll tell you what time frame it runs, how many people will be in the course, possibly, if it's restricted to a certain size. And I said, I'm looking forward to hearing that information back from you. I didn't get that, but then I saw where he went fishing or tried to go fishing there and going there today. So I don't know if it's the same Ronnie Millsap, but
it would be the same one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And but most certainly, the newspaper article that came in, I think it was last Friday, was still that they refused, or they wouldn't comment if anything about what was going on. They wouldn't.
Right.
Right. So,
right.
Being in law enforcement, how would you take that, Steve?
Well, I mean, like I said, you don't put a bunch of instructors on the riverbank and say, if anybody comes by, we're going to train them.
Right. Absolutely. Do training exercises go on? How long do training exercises go on for? Do you know, Steve?
The ones I looked up for the river evidence, because I went online, I've done everything. I've searched for that course in the Midwest and across the United States. Most of the river or water recovery evidence courses out there, or anywhere. It depends if you're going to be scuba diving, which is a more extensive course. But for just evidence courses, they're 2 or 3 days. But law enforcement, generally, almost all courses that you give to a law enforcement officer is a week or less, because you have a training, he has a work schedule that, almost with that, in the law enforcement world, we have to have so many hours of training a year, and they do a lot of that in-house. But, law enforcement is, when you're hired to work in the community that you are working in and where you're housed. But, a lot of the training is out of county, it can be 100 miles away from your whatever department you work for. And so you have housing and all this other stuff. So generally these out of house training situations are a week or less. Some of the higher end SWAT and stuff like that. And some of those courses may be a 2-week course, but 2 weeks is the longest course I know of in law enforcement in the state of Georgia. Doesn't mean Indiana doesn't do something different, but here it's 2 weeks is the longest course you could take.
Yeah. And that would be pretty expensive for the state too, wouldn't it? To have one that long?
For your department, because you're having to pay that when you send an officer off to the school, you're having to pay overtime back at home, wherever he's at, because you've lost a road officer or investigator, or you've lost personnel there. So someone's got to pick up the slack there. Plus you got to pay for whatever the school enrollment is and the housing, because sometimes they may not have on-site housing. And so there's a lot more to it than just saying that that the logistics are, and that's a training exercise. It may well be, I don't know, but everything I've seen, I can't find where it is a training exercise. No one, the news says it's not, that they can't confirm or deny that it is. And the only people I've heard is that somebody won't go fishing. And they talk to office personnel, and what, they may have the absolute scoop on it, but I just find it odd that none of the news agencies are coming up with the training schedule.
Yeah. I thought another telling sign was when they put the big sign up on the bridge that said, what did it say? I can't quote it completely. It wasn't "Today is the day." It said,
a different one.
It wasn't exactly "Today is the day." It was something.
Right. It was "Today is maybe the day." No, something like that.
No, today is the day. I think
today could be the day.
Could be the day. That's right.
Yeah. And the workers, when they read it, cheered that. So why would they cheer that? You
I
know,
know.
yeah, we
I'm
don't know.
hoping that for
There's
hope.
so many little things.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
CD and I, like I said, as he put in there, that most of the training is 2 weeks or less. And and a lot of it's in house. Georgia, we're supposed to have 20 years continuing education, and our department always doubled that to 40 hours. But a lot of it's in house. A lot of departments put a lot of money into their training personnel to do it in house. But these specialized training courses, they're usually off site and to fit whatever criteria has to be covered. But it's
Right.
1 week, 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah, it did. It said today could be the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's 3 weeks. This will be the 4th week coming up now.
Yeah.
So, Steve, let me ask you, with the murder sheets information, in a sense, have you been okay with that information that's been out, even though we all know that the 194 page was a mistake and it wasn't supposed to be released? Meaning, what's your feelings on the information that they are releasing, or even that we've put out there and stuff?
Well, was it accidental or not?
It
What
was.
strategies and what ploys and what hopes on anniversaries and certain dates, law enforcement has certain strategies that they'll bring certain information and release to the public. How they choose that sometimes may be part of the strategy or ploy that you may not know. Is that the case here? I have no idea. But I know that there are certain times that if certain suspects are about to experience certain things, that you'll bring focus to that crime. And in the profiling part and the strategies that law enforcement in certain areas are trained to do, it fits that because law enforcement often will release information that will bring a lot of focus to a case, and they do it for a reason. But generally, those are on anniversaries. But if there's an opportunity that might be coming up to apply pressure on an individual, it might be going to court or otherwise, that's going to lose the rest of his life, that it might be an opportunity to bring some focus to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, I scared myself for a second. Oh,
How'd you scare yourself?
I turned to the side and I saw a shadow, and it was just my green screen. And then I thought it was a person standing beside me. I was like, wait, what?
But if we're to believe murder sheets, they've every time they've asked law enforcement, if you're to believe them, say that would this harm the case?
Mm-hmm.
And law enforcement,
that's what they say.
And law enforcement hasn't come out and say that, no, don't release it. Or at least we haven't seen that report. And law enforcement hadn't come out and said that, do, whatever, don't do this. Or we don't have where there's certain things that could have happened for cease and desist orders that if you have certain information that the courts might handle, and they could, most certainly issue some type of writ or something that would cease and desist the release of certain information. And that hasn't been the case yet.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, I, for one, am hopefully, I'm hopeful that there's, a turning tide there with the case. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
I'm excited about it right now. I really am. I've had the best feelings about the case in the last 2 or 3 weeks than I've had since I've became aware of the situation.
Yeah, and you're heading out that way on your trip as you go across different places, aren't you?
Yeah, like I said, those are unrelated, but I will be, if the time frame holds, I will be dropping in. If I've got a schedule of meeting with several different families, but look at those and try to assist them with whatever I can do for them. But then if the weather holds true and everything falls in line with my plan A, I'll go through Delphi and get some firsthand knowledge of the lay of the land.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when you're there. I'm not that far away. I'd love
Absolutely.
to meet you. Got you and Mrs. Steve. Is she coming with you?
Yes, she's the security.
Oh.
She's our cloud bot. Yeah. So, Steve, you're going to have one agenda for your travels and then another agenda for the people that are going to say, yeah, come stop or we'll meet up when you're out there.
Well, I mean, yeah, we still have to have coffee, and we still have to eat. So
Right.
And everything's laid out in a schedule. But law enforcement pretty well teaches you that Plan A eventually evolves into about Plan G.
Yeah, and I'm just going to put it out there too. Even though Steve's not asking me to say this, but when he does go on his next live, you guys, and again, I'm just going to drop Steve's channel. This is a very costly adventure, and everything's coming out of his pocket. He's a growing channel, and at some point, like ours, right, it will be maybe self-running by the donations and the ads, especially. So if anyone does, when Steve goes on his next live, okay. Unless he has a PayPal that I know of right now. But if you guys could maybe help put some gas money, a little bit of gas money towards it. He has to buy some very expensive equipment, Let me put it this way. He's going to be like that boots on the ground, right? Kind of like what Gonzo does in a sense that way, traveling around. But those are very costly things. So I'm just putting it out there. If anyone can contribute to Steve when he does his next live, that would be amazing and awesome. Unless you got a PayPal link that I can drop. I don't know if you do or not.
I don't know what all Mrs. Steve said out there. I appreciate it, but I have some wonderful support so far. And most certainly everybody's been so supportive of me. And hopefully I'll never be able to do what Adventures with a Purpose has done.
Oh, thank you.
But I most certainly will try to help what I can with the code cases. It's not really comparing apples to apples when you look at what they can do and what they're working on and what investigator can do working on individual cases with limited evidence. That's when you're talking about individuals. It's one thing when you have a physical evidence of an item in a certain location that they look for, and they're very good at it. I don't know who their investigators are and their researchers are, but they're phenomenal. You have to hold them in the highest regards. And that's another group of people I'm in awe of is the Adventures with a Purpose. Absolutely amazing what they do. But hopefully at some point maybe I can be able to get that one tip to help one of these families on one of these cold cases.
Steve, it's a good thing for you that Deb and I are getting ready to start dive lessons, and we're going to start our own investigative team.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
Steve.
Mine's going to be on dry land, so I don't have to get any lessons on that.
Can we come practice in your lake?
Oh, absolutely. There's been a lot of diving done in the lake.
Can we lose Sunny?
Oh,
what happened?
You know why there's been diving in that lake, Steve, don't you? Because they've had to look for certain things.
There you are.
I went blurry again. So
okay. Now, I thought we lost you.
No, but I want to say something quickly. Adventures with Purpose and Real Gone Gonzo. Everyone, I should know how much I love those guys. Whenever I see such beautiful, organic, pure hearts that are doing things for the right reasons. So as everyone knows, Jared, so Doug was on our show, Doug Bishop, that's husband. Doug Bishop was on our show, of course, with Adventures with Purpose. But I just wanted to let everyone know that too, as well, that, this is how great these people are. So just to say that Jared, he goes from Adventures with Purpose. He emailed me back last night, and I'm still yet to answer him. Actually, I'm making him wait.
Because they want to come on. They want to come on and meet me.
Yeah, that's what it is, Adam, of course. But anyways, so it's a crime and shame and true crime web, Steve. we want to give Adventures with Purpose, Jared. They're celebrating their 27-year wedding anniversary yesterday. So he said, celebrating 27 years with my wife and missed this email. Forgiven. As long as you come on here, right? Hope Doug was able to take care of you, and thank you for all your support and of our efforts throughout the years. So I just wanted to especially, of course, thank Adventures with Purpose for Doug Bishop for coming on here. And doesn't matter. Still, Jared, me and you like this, okay? But anyways, I love them all, but Jared was the first one I recall, and I just I have a visual always of when he was tearing up, and then telling that guy off at the same time. But he's just, when someone wears their heart on the sleeve like Jared does, it just, you just can't help falling in love with that type of personality. It's just beautiful to watch. And the AWP team in general as a whole, they just, epitomize everything that people should be like, right?
Yeah, and it's gross to hear that some people have have tried to demonize them for some stupid reason.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I don't even want to give them the time of the
No,
day for that.
I'm not saying names.
No, exactly. Just for the fact, honestly, if you do come across a channel that is doing, honestly, please unsubscribe, because what more beautiful thing can people do than helping out others? And this is where I was gonna say, Steve, about so Adventures with Purpose. They put out a new video, you guys, 2 hours ago, by the way. But this is where I was going to say, Steve, just like September 11th of 2001, in my head, as you're talking about that, all I can think about is in chat, we only like surrounding ourselves around people that, are truly here for the right reasons, care and support and love and kindness, and not into the whole drama and blah, 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 blah. And that's stuff that I think about, because I'm sure that a lot of those people that do start drama and stuff like that, and maybe not, but when you give something like, Ground Zero there, and how people do pull together in the time of need, just like they did as well with Adventures with Purpose when they needed that money this one time because they needed to go back. And I'm telling you, the love and support that was flowing in, that's what we love to see. That's why I'm so harsh, because I have such a high standard in the quality of people, honestly, that I associate with in my real life.
Clearly.
And that's why I love Deb, Adam, Steve, I guess Steve too, CD, ones like this, yeah, because they just, and Gonzo, they just epitomize everything that I look for in people with true caring hearts. And that's exactly why the people in chat, it doesn't matter if you're a subscriber or not, you cause drama in here, and you want to be insulting, out you go. Don't care about your subscription whatsoever. Because sometimes people talk to you like I'm doing you the favor, and in a sense, well, not with that attitude, you're not, because we would rather not have you, and we would rather have you good people that are in here right now watching.
Sonny, everyone knows if anyone's going to insult anyone on this channel, it's going to be between you, me, and Deb. No one else.
But yeah,
we don't even insult Steve.
Shut up, Adam.
Yeah. Steve.
Yeah, I'm known for wearing my heart on my sleeve also.
Yeah.
We've never seen your sleeves.
Really? Yeah. I don't know. I know the real true reason Steve's here. Adam, if you could just stay away from Steve, if you could just lean this way.
He's worried. He's worried that he just wants to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be and not there near the lake.
Yeah, I'm just
blame
worried
him for that.
October 8th, 9th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shut your shades in the back there, Steve.
Yeah.
Poor
I told
Steve.
I'll be on the boat late.
And Steve will be going, Duck.
Yeah.
No, he'll be like,
Adam, don't forget to give your shout out for Mrs. Steve, who loves you.
Oh, Miss Steve knows that I love her.
Okay. And Mr. Steve, you don't like him too well, right? Like you wouldn't go on his show without me or anything, would you?
No, Mrs. Adam loves him.
And a hot
Miss Adam. I love both. I love Mrs. Steve and Mr. Steve.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just know who the superstar in that family is.
yeah. Honey loves
Absolutely.
your boat and house too on
Yeah.
the water. Yeah, of course.
No,
Yeah.
I'd absolutely be nothing without her. Absolutely. She is the
Aw.
foundation.
Oh,
That's
you know,
That is so
Good
sweet.
man.
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say that about my husband too. Um, I've been. I'm just gonna admit it. I've been a pretty lazy housewife for a while now,
Oh, I
and
thought you were going to say he'd be nothing without you.
no, no. I've been a pretty lazy housewife for a while now. Ever since his brother moved in here a year ago, I kind of don't really venture out into the whole living space too often. But it's like this morning, like, husband's like, why don't you make me toast and coffee today? And I'm just like,
Why don't you get
no,
your damn
honey,
brother-in-law out of our living room? Oh, sorry.
but I was like, no, honey, why don't you keep to your ritual? Because you make that toast and coffee so good.
So
But
funny.
my husband, he is, like I say too, Steve, my husband is just an amazing person. Like he would do anything for me. He never puts me down. No, 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 no. But um, usually he'll get a back scratch out of it or something. But but it's just he's a really good, really great husband. I love him.
Aw.
All right, yeah. But
Deb, who's good in your family?
yeah,
You,
Deb, go. I mean, this
Mm,
is a SAP network. All of a sudden,
Sunny knows I have a husband that's like that. We talked about the meals they cook. I'll just say I had king crab legs tonight, and I did not cook it.
right. And we know Deb sleeps like 11:30 a.m. every day.
Well, I stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning with you
I know.
jokers.
Deb's husband's halfway through his workday before she gets out of bed. I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm playing.
Yeah. No, I usually don't sleep that late, but
I'm playing.
Have a good night,
I'm
Troy.
up.
Yeah.
But he gets up with the chickens.
Uh-huh.
He's
Oh,
an
you
early
know
person.
you know
I'm
his
not.
chickens. Do you know whose chickens? Steve has chickens.
Steve has chickens.
I'm a farm boy.
You're a bomb boy. That's right. So is Adam. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm probably the only one of us that grew up on a farm.
Yeah. Where was the farm again?
Southern Illinois, Washington County.
My
Easy.
grandparents had a farm. I didn't
Yeah,
grow
yeah,
up on
yeah.
it, but I was there a lot.
My first job ever was at 13 picking chicken eggs at at a commercial chicken house, and no one ever wants that job.
Ew, chickens are dirty.
I had jobs before that; they just weren't paid.
Yeah, chickens are cute, but they're dirty.
We've only been on this farm for 80 years, so I don't know if we're going to keep it or not.
Only 80? That's it? Just 80?
How many more payments you got on the mortgage?
Zero. minus probably 100, something like that, eh? So, that was your family's farm, Steve?
Yes, my grandfather and my father bought it back in 46.
And how much did they pay for that land back in 46?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm killing because you know how things were.
You could probably find that out.
Yeah. Actually, you're correct because my grandfather, we still deal with the same attorney firm that my grandfather dealt with in the 40s, but we deal with their grandchildren.
Yeah.
The same family attorney. We're probably the longest running client attorney in the state, because like I said, that's been 80 years and we've stayed with them. They've stayed with us.
And what was that what was that firm?
It's Adam firm.
Hey, I know you guys said this earlier and a change of direction here, but so someone said, and you told me this earlier, Adam. So Greener's channel is down.
So I've been sent that by several people, but I looked briefly and couldn't find it. But I don't know. Is True Crime Investigates gone?
And what's that Aussie channel's name? Just so was that the Joe Lewis guy?
Yep.
Well, that was Shattered Mirror. True Crime Investigates is Greeno.
Yeah.
But Greeno's channel's gone?
Joe Lewis, his account is supposedly gone too.
Oh, I think, wasn't he just live?
I don't know. They said his account is They were
don't
saying
follow
his
him.
account was on.
Yeah. Either way, if they are happy days, if not, sad days.
Right.
Let's see. I wanted to show
And
you
we
guys.
know another channel that's gone for a week or two.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Sad day there. Um, but again, just stay good people, stay true um, to the purpose behind it all. Um, and something I did want to show you guys was this, and I know the public, for instance, probably most of you haven't seen this, but I wanted to show you something, a reference back over to Nicole Bowen, Jason Palladino, the Palladinos or whatever. So someone sent me this, and his name is Lewis. So thank you very much, Lewis, for sending me this. So here's a shout out. And I'm also going to give a shout out to Babylonian. I posted your link in there too. That's Babylonian Cowboy. Also going to give a shout out to Famously Unfamous's channel. So Babylonian Cowboy, Famously Unfamous channel. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe over to them. I really like the quick little shorts that Babylonian Cowboy does. And
Yep.
Famously Unfamous is one that has provided us with the footage of the search to this channel. So appreciation there. And again, Lewis providing this information to me the other day. What was this one? Okay, Jimmy Snowberger, this is why I'm glad you were. Okay, let's go back over to, is it this one? Yes. So Sam Bowen is Nicole Bowen's brother. So Sam Bowen is feeling like punking Mark Palladino out. I'm not going to read it because you guys can probably read it clear as day yourself just by me showing it. Obviously, some niceties going on there. And so I wanted to show you that one, okay? And then I want to show you this as well. So Sam Bowen, will you have him message me or something? Brittany German. Now I did ask Becky Patty, if Brittany German was part of the family. Not to her knowledge, could be a whole different German, or a relation on a different side in a sense that she might not know. Not sure. And then so Brittany German, so that was the whole point because seeing the name German in that, but I don't know. Talk it over with Jason and see what he can help you with. So Sam Bowen is pissed. And he's pissed because in 2015, his truck was stolen by the Palladinos. And same thing that happened with Ray Hanish's death, that the TV and the car were found on Mark Palladino's property when Cher and that went to go pick it up. Okay. So these people like to steal cars as well. They probably like to steal a lot more. And we definitely know that they're into drugs. Hence why two of them are in prison at the moment. But this is just something I wanted to show you guys. So it said, Kmart said, call the cops. I just want my truck. I don't even know him, never met him, but honestly, he's careless. I've asked him politely and respectfully, and he refuses. Why WTF did I do to anyone? And then Brittany German says, well, I know the Palladino family, and if anyone did something that another thing says effed up, they will make it right with you. So that's why I tagged Jason Palladino so he can help you figure out everything. What I wanted to do in showing that, well, I went straight to the horse's mouth, Becky, and I just asked her, hey, is this a relation of yours? Again, she said that she didn't know. And then she said, I didn't actually understand the second part of that, Deb, because it was almost like it was worded wrong or something. But it was like something about not that I know of, and then something about Brad German side or something like that, perhaps.
That would be, yeah, Brad German's side if it was.
Yeah. So not still sure if there is that family tie there, if German is part of the actual Germans that we speak of with Delphi. But I want to show you the correlation there. So obviously, the Bowen and Palladinos had bad blood. We all know that Nicole Bowen was murdered at the hands of Ashley Garth and Garrett Kurtz and some accomplices that were there, Talitha Beckley, Jasmine Parker, and Chris Mathis. And we also know that Mikey Hiddle was there, but he wasn't charged because he wasn't there when Nicole was murdered. And Mikey Hiddle was on our show one time before. He refuses to talk about the Palladinos. and basically he references basically me saying that is enough to let you know that why, in a sense. um Not because of Delphi, but I just mean in general. Obviously, you know you don't mess with the Paladinos, or you don't talk about them, or something's probably going to happen. So Nicole Bowen, we know, like I said, there's part of me, you guys, I want to ask you something. And Steve, I'm not really sure if you're familiar. um there's part of me that always believes that Garrett Kurtz went out with her just for the purpose of to set her up, in a sense. You
Went out
know
with who?
that Garrett Kurtz, I
Nicole?
always feel like she was used. I always feel like Nicole Bowen was used by Garrett Kurtz. I don't know why, but I always get that feeling of being used.
I think she was
And
a rebound girl because he and Ashley had a big falling out,
well,
and then he
yeah,
started dating Nicole and then was engaged to her.
but 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 that's the thing, is that they weren't even seeing each other for that long, him and
Mm-hmm.
Nicole. And
Yeah.
if you remember in the appeal, they talk about months that they had been talking about getting rid of her months prior. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but you haven't even been dating that long.
Yeah.
Um, Let me just say, regardless, Garrett Kurtz, Ashley Garth, um, all those people that have murdered and took someone else's life, like I said, just reap the justice that you deserve.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but anyway, so thanks again to Lewis for sharing this with me, but I just wanted you to see it, um, just to, again, to show you that the Bowens and the Paladinos obviously had, animosity, just like Garrett Kurtz at some point did with Jason Palladino. It's probably why, because of Ashley sleeping with him, is why he keeps calling him out in the open secrets video. It's almost like he doesn't care, right? He just, you can tell Garrett Kurtz just speaks off the top of his head when he talks. There's no big thinking going on there. He just, boop, kind of like what Chris Mathis says about his emotions. He just, you know, does it.
Right.
But anyway,
Extremely impulsive.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't think that they practice critical thinking?
No, you know what? I would like to think that they do. That's kind of
Right.
like I would like to think that the BG practice critical thinking as well. And
Right.
and I just don't see it. I think that they're they're good at breaking the law.
Right.
That they're but like they're, what do you want to call that, street savvy, world that way, that.
Mhm.
But as for actual brilliant minds, no, no. I mean, not to say that all of them are that way, but I just mean, well, drugs will do you no favors, first of all. I'm sure there's
I
people
mean,
out there that break it.
unless they're needed for
Yeah.
your
Um
blood pressure.
but yeah, there's not any of those ones of those, that group. Probably there's not one that I'm, well, Chris Mathis went to law school. I know that.
What?
So yeah,
That
yeah,
that's surprising. He
yeah.
doesn't strike
Mhm.
me. So
I
he
know.
he graduated from undergrad university and got accepted into a law school somewhere.
Hey, I don't know. It could be all
Yeah.
bull
Maybe
crap,
he's
but
taking some law classes online or something in prison.
yeah, who knows?
University of Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So
That's surprising.
yeah. Well, like I said, I just wanted to share that with you guys because I just thought it was insightful. A lot of different insights to me of always that
Mm-hmm.
are popping up. And when I see something like that, it just lets me know, hey, the Paladinos, Nicole Bowen got, murdered for a reason. Um, and
Yeah.
we all know that there's half truths there. Just same with
Mhm.
Ray Hanish and stuff like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just it's always nice to see when the truth surfaces to the top. Sometimes we don't always see it. Either way, I always just feel like doesn't matter. Karma you put out, karma you'll get back. Doesn't mean if it's 5 years from now, well, you're dead. I don't care. Um, at some point, it's gonna bite you in the butt there. And yeah, actually, it was uh, Lewis that actually, well, not that he actually, but he actually found out where Chris Mathis was hiding or staying. so he tipped that in. He was in a different state over there, staying in some
Mhm.
apartments, and that so I mean, it's not like he got an answer back, but he was a person that had tipped in where Chris Mathis was, and so whether that equates to that's why it happened. Either way, good job for doing that, and you know nothing worse than hiding fugitives in a sense if you know where they are and then being part of all that. But yeah, so Steve, what do you think? What are you feeling with Delphi here? You feeling it's on the cusp of a bunch of stuff coming to light or something, or the of a arrest? And I don't know. What do you think?
I think I can't wait until. Um, yeah, I think there's something positive on the horizon, and um, you know, have I read too much into the tea leaves? I hope not. Uh,
I'll do that for you.
Mhm.
yeah, but the mannerisms and the things that are happening out there, and like the money being dumped into what uh, the unknowns, and like I believe that uh, has Kagan confessed to something? Has he
Mhm.
put law enforcement on a trail to follow up on information that he may have released? Truth or not, I think that's what set it in everything that's going on in the motion, because law enforcement will have to react in the manner they have currently to either prove or disprove information they have. And if Kagan has given them a story, and he may have given a story trying to lighten his sentence, but even if he gives information that is false, law enforcement still has to go out there and follow up on it, because if they don't, they'll never be able to take anyone else to trial.
Right.
And so they have to prove or disprove if someone gives them information, what information they have. And I
Mhm.
hope it's truthful. And if he has done such a thing, I have no proof that he has, other than certain things are going on that make no sense without a motive.
Mm.
Law enforcement has a motive just as much as anything, that when they do something, they do it for a reason. And
Mhm.
either it's to prove or disprove information they have on major cases.
Yeah. Kagan Klein's going to be on our show tomorrow night, right?
Excellent.
Yeah, it's sad that it's unfortunate that I won't be able to make it. There's
I
not
pushed it
room.
over all.
There's not room on screen for all of us.
Yeah.
No.
I need to look into the process if I'm up there near him, if I can talk to him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, you just go knocking on those people's doors there, Steve, on your
I'll give you a list, Steve, of people I want you to talk to.
yeah. For a nominal fee, though, Steve, of course, right? Yeah. Meaning Adam will pay you to.
Well,
gotta
Steve might not be the only one going to Indiana soon.
Oh, I guess Deb's gonna have to book an appointment with you too. She's gonna be a busy lady. When do you plan on going?
We haven't really decided on the dates yet. It depends on. Actually, I'm calling tomorrow some of the family members, and because some of most of the family members know each other. There's groups on Facebook. There are support groups, and so they know each other, and they interact. And so I've got the workout schedule of which ones that I can, to meet first, so that the flow, because like I said, it's about a 2,500-mile round trip by the time I run through all the states and all the different sites, because just in one state, I've got 3 different locations, and then I've got to go up to another state. And, so we're still working on the schedule, and it'll be about 7 days, 5 solid days of work, and then 2 days of just travel,
Yeah.
long days.
Yep.
But we're going to take care of the people that there's 3 of them that actually that have great losses that I'm going to meet with, and we're going to focus on them 3. The rest of the schedule is fluid, and we'll, take it as it comes. But I've got to take care of these first 3 families, get all the information, and see if we can't have an impact on it.
Are you doing any lives while you're away from the Love Mobile thing there?
We're going to have to figure out. Yeah, we'll be doing some stuff on the road, most certainly, because I mean it's only 1 week and it's a couple of shows, or
Yeah.
3
But
shows.
even just
As
little
we
clips.
expand, go ahead.
No, I just said even just if they're little clips, like those little 2-minute clips or 1-minute clips or whatever.
Yeah, we'll probably do something. I talked to Chris on the Mob Show and the crew, and because he's traveled and done this, and I asked him how he did his uploads and when, and from the motels, and so we'll probably be doing a few. If I'm on the road, and we may, in the evenings at whatever motel we're at, may put out some type of 10 or 20-minute recorded video. Won't be doing lives, I don't think, but we may be releasing some recorded videos.
Yep. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, whoops. As I told you earlier, I've never personally watched. You said Chris from the Mob Crew,
Yes.
right? And Steve has gone on there a few times, and so I'm just going to drop the Mob Crew's YouTube link. So shout out to the Mob Crew. Steve, how many times have you been on there now? I've just heard that you've been on it.
Oh yeah. He invites me on probably once every week or two.
Yeah.
And whenever he goes out and he does whatever he does, and
Yeah.
or now we probably talk more than that, but
Well,
and
absolutely.
because I have a great interest in Dylan Rounds also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How's that case going? Is there any updates that you can give us on the Dylan Rounds that you know of?
I was hoping there's going to be a lot of movement when the FBI became involved and they started doing those grid searches, and then they had the suspect named that's in jail, and are they waiting on lab reports or otherwise? But the greatest, the family wants him, they want to find Dylan. He's been missing now since May the 28th or so. And so the family realizes what that means. That, it's not a kidnapping. He left everything behind. It's not something that is going to have a great outcome for the family.
Yeah.
And they realize that there's a loss. And the agencies working it, they realize that also. But at some point, I hope it's solved before I ever have to try to do what I can do for them. But I most certainly will try to do anything I can to help them also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it's, I guess it's like networking with some good people that you come across and getting to know, you know what I mean? Helping each other out along the way and doing stuff and whatever. That's why it's kind of like, it's really nice to get to know, certain channels along the way so far. And like I said, I appreciate the fact that I sent you an email today and all of a sudden, just asked you. Wasn't expecting it back, honestly, it was last minute there. But I'm glad it really turned out this way because, once I actually remembered that, yes, oh my goodness, like the live is on September 11th here.
Yeah, we talked about it last night.
Huh?
Yeah, when you and I talked about it last night.
Yeah. That's right. That's what it was. And just the fact that you just basically you sent me an email back within minutes and was like, yep, just send me the link,
Steve, have you looked at the Amaya Robertson case at all? The baby that was been missing since 2019?
No. Say that name again.
Amaya Robertson. She was an 8-month-old baby that went missing in 2019. Haven't found her yet.
No, I'm working another child on a 2-year-old, but not that one.
Yeah. Because it update just came across, so I thought it's short. I'll just tell you about it real quickly. The mother, Amber Robertson, was arrested Saturday on 4 counts of neglect for that case. 2 counts of neglect of a dependent resulting in bodily injury, neglect of a dependent resulting in serious bodily injury, and IMPD said that they would not respond at this time for any other details. But baby Amaya is like a big case here in Indiana that she's been missing for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't been involved. I don't know what the proper term of describing my career is about finding or locating victims, but I was pretty successful in locating mostly a lot of drowned victims, but also a few murdered and things like that.
Steve, what years were you with the GBI?
I don't know why this.
I worked with a lot of GBI agents, but I was not in the GBI.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's right. Okay, that's right. You were with a local law enforcement officer.
Yes.
Okay.
But I worked a lot of cases with the GBI.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. For it's been an hour and 52 minutes. Steve, I'm going to give you some final thoughts, and it can be about whatever you want it to be, whether it's September 11th, whether it's about anything else that you wanted to say. I don't want to keep you here because I'm now it's almost 2 hours already. That went by really fast, to be honest with you. So is there any final thoughts that you wanted to say at all, Steve?
Oh no, just we it is a day in our history that will always be known, and that we should never forget, for the fact that all of us can be a victim of any type of crime at any moment, but when our country's attacked and things, and the loss of lives that happened that day in just a matter of moments, that it's just something that we should never forget and always honor those.
Yep, absolutely. Deborah, Adam, anything else? I know that our next live isn't until Wednesday, but there possibly could be.
I do have something else to say. If Steve needs to jump off, I mean, he can, because it's not about anything else. But
I gotta leave at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So I put a picture up on. I put a picture in our messenger, Sonny. Okay. I don't want to bring drama to anything, but I do want to show one thing because it's something I won't stand for.
Oh, let me take a look.
And I just wanted to show it as an example of something that actions do have consequences.
The one that's in black there? Oh, okay. Okay. Will do. We'll quickly show that.
And it's not to create drama. It's not to do anything other than to make a point.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just share.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're looking at is you get an email when you report things to YouTube, and you get a result, and there's a certain channel that we all know, AASB, blah blah blah, whatever, that his channel was suspended a couple of weeks ago. So of course, like every other creator, when their channel gets suspended or taken down, they just do another channel. But he then, within 1 day or 2 days, created a video, not of me, but actually of Real Chill Corrales, and implying that he was gay and using horrible terms and slurs. To which I got the video taken down, just like I got the channel suspended before that, when he was making threats against people and using homophobic slurs, hate speech, to calling people fat, horrible things that should not be done, threatening violence on people. And I'm not going to highlight it too much, but I just wanted to point out that when you are a person that goes out of your way to be hateful and and provide nothing but nonsense, actions have consequences, and you will always lose at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if channels like Reno's today were taken down and Joe Louise, then those are perfect examples of that as well.
Well, I was going to
I have
say,
no problem taking the credit for that because I'm proud of it.
now, Adam, just quickly, did you tell people how exactly, if people don't know, what you do to report that, like what you did? Just go to the report on the.
Well, there's always a report. There's always a report section on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can go through.
Yeah.
And I'm a big boy. I can handle someone making fun of me. There's a difference between being made fun of. You come at me, whatever. But if it affects other people or whatever, I won't stand for that. But you can also go other routes with YouTube. The route I took was I went on Twitter and I publicly reported the channels with the links and what was being said and done with timestamps. And YouTube responded immediately, and like the video he made about Graz was taken down within an hour or two. And all I did, and it was just at YouTube. And there's another one that's at YouTube's Teams, which you get faster response from, because they don't want the public negative publicity also of these things being on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
But so again, like I didn't want to highlight like drama or anything, but I do want to say that actions have consequences. And if you're going to have a channel, say what you want. Just don't use discriminatory language, hate speech, threatening violence, or misinformation, because you'll lose at the end of the day every day.
How about the hashtag mind your own business, stay in your lane, be nice, be kind. How about those things? Those things
Right.
do a lot more for people. And the thing is that you
I will stand up for people any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that misery loves company and people. But at the end of the day, the people with the hearts, the biggest hearts and stuff like that, the people that are the genuine ones and that, they will always win regardless, right? No matter what. So it's just, like I said, it's so easy to be judgmental and say negative things, but it's a lot nicer, you know, just to do acts of kindness. And that's why, again, we love people like Steve, Deb, Adam, Ventures with Purpose, Real Gonzo. I love myself. Okay. But
it's not hard to be a good person. Like it's just not hard to be a good person. And
yeah. So
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. So anyways, we're gonna bid adieu. We'll see you on Wednesday, unless one of us does a membership only live or something like that, or maybe a live. I don't know if Adam. So sometimes you just get the urge all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
It's like, we miss you. Okay, let's do a live or something. But anyways, yeah, just in time. Oh, see you, Jenny.
And I didn't mean to end the show on a negative on a tone,
it's okay.
but
we'll end it on.
I just wanted to thought it was important to say.
Yeah, we'll end it on a positive note, and everyone can just picture that Steve will be using those handcuffs tonight with Mrs. Steve. We'll do the positive.
Okay, wait. So when does the positive thing come into it?
Oh, look at there, he's got him.
I know, right?
Just like that.
Yeah.
These are probably 100-year-old.
Mrs. Steve, poor Mrs. Steve's got to work in the morning. She's probably already sound asleep.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, don't you notice that my top is actually kind of matching your true crime web thing? To be honest, don't you notice this? It's like matching. It's like almost like a web, isn't it? I just feel like yeah. I put it on and I was like, oh, I feel like almost like Steve's web here. Yeah. But anyways,
I'm going to see the pattern here. Y'all have more in common with my household than I do. My wife's in love with Adam.
Yeah.
That's what you get for working for so many years all away from home.
I'm in love with Steve. Did you guys even know that, right? Because I can say that because my husband's name is Steve. So I'm in love with Steve. Yeah.
Hey,
that's right.
Sonny's third time's a charm.
Right, Steve? Right? My ex-husband's name is Steve, my husband now, and then I got you, so I can just say it all day long. Anyways.
Somebody finally recognized my mask.
I was literally just looking at that, and then I look down and I see that question. So yeah, go ahead. Is that when you don't want to look at your wife? And no, I'm just kidding.
No. She doesn't want to look at him.
Yeah.
Steve.
No, it's just some stuff I had laying around the house.
Yeah. I feel like you don't even have to change your theme for Halloween or anything, right? It's like perfect. You just got to add some orange lights, maybe the one day if you're doing a live or something. You know,
One of these days, I'll let my wife explain to you how she used to love to terrify the neighborhood children during Halloween. That's her favorite time of year.
Yeah, she puts out the gun.
We'll have to have a Halloween special and we'll hear all about that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. We'll see how that falls, but I was almost thinking we should all do ourselves up and have a Halloween special.
Wow.
You know?
We used to put a cemetery out in our front yard and
same, yeah.
make the kids come through. We had the dry ice smoke.
Yeah.
And
nice.
had the still have the coffin. And
Steve, you should just put your uniform on and walked around, and you should just put your uniform on and walked around and taken kids candy and told them they were in trouble.
Steve, I used to spend a month prior to Halloween, getting the garage and everything ready with the graveyard. And if you actually use milk jug bottles, 5 of them you can make those big hanging skeletons with them. That's what we would do, the head, the arms, and whatever. But anyways, so I would have those, and then I would have the Reaper mask on, sitting in the rocking chair, and of course, you just sit there and do all of a sudden, and oh my God, I felt really bad when a couple kids did run off screaming.
My wife has that same mentality. She found great pleasure in scaring little children that time.
Speaking of Halloween, I did drop a link into the chat just now. Our friend Chaotic Beauty,
yes.
If everyone could go to the link and vote for her to be the face of horror, she's like getting closer and closer to the finals. And you can vote once a day. But I mean, her work is amazing. So if you click the link, you'll see what I'm talking about. But you just go to the link and vote for her to be the face of horror, Halloween, whatever. And I know that she would appreciate it, and she deserves it.
Yeah.
Deb, do you enjoy scaring little children also?
No, I'm more the Glinda Goodwitch person.
Okay.
Boring.
Have you seen? Have you seen Wicked?
Yeah, we have lots of decor, but it's not really scary. It's more fallish, pumpkins and mums and that kind of thing. But,
no.
But I loved it when I was a kid. I love when people did that, because then you run up and scream and you talk about it all night long. Did you see that lady's house? So yeah.
The only thing I hate about Halloween, though, is that at least Christmas you can do the work, enjoy the lights for quite a while. With Halloween, I spent a month doing it for one night and then it was done.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what I mean? Christmas time, you can just enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, I think Chaotic Beauty's house has been decorated for a month.
Yeah, probably.
So,
yeah. Anyways, you guys. Oh, go ahead.
We have a house not far from us, and they have a big skeleton that is almost 2 stories tall. I've never seen anything like that. I sent a picture of it to Chaotic. I'm like, you need this. It is taller than the first story of the house and like mid to the second story. Yeah. It is so
only
cool.
$1,000 and it's yours, right?
Yeah, it probably cost that. It's massive.
Yeah. Oh, you can cast a vote each day. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna head on out, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the new members. Thank you to Kelly Aaron for the donation. And yeah, other than that, we'll see you Wednesday night. And thank you guys for following us, and hit the like button if you don't mind. A little quieter tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And more than anything, I think our hearts should go out to people like CD and to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love you, CD.
Yeah. Yep, as well. Yeah. Alrighty. I'm just gonna actually. Yeah. I'm just literally gonna start playing the tribute video on the way out. Steve, you can check out of here if you like, and I'm just gonna play that, and then Adam and Deb will see you guys in the back room. All right, you guys. Take care. Have a good one.
See you Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, now that we got rid of him, I'm just kidding.
So mean.
It's always a breath of relief every time I get rid of the cops.
I know, right? Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, everyone.
Yeah. And I went blurry anyway. So
And Sunny, by the way, how would I dress up for Halloween when my face is already?
I was gonna say you don't need to, Adam. You just show up as you are. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. Deb's
Oh,
gonna put on some
brother.
angel wings, and I'm gonna put on some double horns. Yeah. Actually, Deb's truly the devil, don't he? Yes. Deb. All right.
In disguise.
In honor of the World Trade Center devastation that happened in 2001, It's a Crying Shame would like to say, we are sorry for the families. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives that day. We'd like to appreciate the fallen that worked so hard to save other people's lives as well, and those that carried on. Thank you for your service, time, and dedication. Thank you, Steve from True Crime Web, for joining us today. And please, everyone, say a prayer for all those families that lost their lives that day or lost their loved ones.